All right, what's up, everybody? It is Wednesday, and it is time for Let's Talk Boxing Live with your girl, Jasmine K. I asked you guys what you wanted to talk about this week, and out of everything that you guys possibly could have gave me for topics, I got the majority of topics submitted to talk about Shakur. Killer Core, aka Twitterson Core. We've been talking about Shakur for the last week and a half now. We are now post fight, and we are still talking about Shakur because you guys are giving him the everybody hates Chris treatment. I mean, granted, my guy is out there going off on any and everybody, okay? Off on any and everybody. And that seems to be the common denominator for why you guys don't like Shakur, because he talks this big game, over delivers, over commits and under delivers. I think it's a different way how that goes. But my YouTube is Jasmine K Boxing for you guys that are on Instagram that want to join live. Again, the link is in the bio for you guys to actually video call in and be on the YouTube stream. Otherwise, you can request to go live on Instagram. We'll get your audio. And if you want to chat live, then you got to go to YouTube, Jasmine K Boxing. So, yes. All right. So, let's talk about free agency for Shakur Stevenson and what that looks like. There's a couple of different scenarios out there, there's a few different variables that are impacting where he goes and what move he makes next. And that is not me being privy to any plans that he has, but based on what I see, the same thing that you guys see. And it seems as though Top Rank still has the door open for Shakur to come back and to re-sign with them. Bob had an interview on Cigar Talk with Najee, and basically, excuse me, I'm allergies. Basically said that, Shakur is more than welcome to go out there to explore other options, different promoters. He's, more than entitled to basically be a free agency. But after all that, he sort of hinted at, not necessarily hinted, actually came out and said that once he basically figures out that no one's willing to put up the money for his fights, he'll be back to Top Rank and they will be willing to sign him. That's if Shakur doesn't piss off ESPN and Top Rank in between time. Because like I said, my guy is going off on everybody. Chance Livingston, what's up, Jazz? I'm just checking in to support. I'm at work, so I'll see you next Wednesday. Have a good rest of the week and weekend. Thank you, Chance. I appreciate it. Get that shmoney. Get that shmoney. But yes. So the door's still open as of now, unless Shakur burns that bridge. But he's also going out publicly saying that Eddie Hearn is the best promoter that's out there. So it seems as though, if I had to put two and two together and if I had to read between the lines, between him actually going forward with being independent and being a free agent and picking up different fight contracts, it seems as though he's probably going to pick up a fight contract soon with Matchroom's Eddie Hearn. My question is, will it be a one fight contract or a multiple fight contract? I think it will be in his best bet to sign a multiple fight contract, whoever he goes with. Definitely don't think that he's going to Golden Boy. Doesn't seem like Golden Boy is much of an option. Yeah. So outside of Zepeda being with Golden Boy, I don't necessarily see him doing a deal with Golden Boy right off the back. And I don't think Zepeda is the first fight that he wants to go after with the free agency. I'll tell you why I like Shakur going to Matchroom. Shakur is, I won't say that he's struggling to sell in the States, but there's this love-hate relationship with Shakur Stevenson right now. And I think that it has grown since this past Saturday. given everything that he's gone out there and said, pre-fight, post-fight, and how he's just calling everybody out. But the numbers, from what we've seen at a glance, nothing super official yet, it seems as though the numbers are still there. People still tuned in, regardless of how many people said that he's a boring fighter, that the fight was boring, that he got pillow hands and all this stuff. He told you guys what he was going to do, and he delivered just that outside of the knockout. Outside of that, he did exactly what he said he was going to do. He stood there in front of this guy, barely got touched. Um, I mean, he claims that both of his hands are fragile, whatever that means. So hopefully, between now and the next fight, probably not to the end of this year, I would say go as far to say that we probably won't see Shakur back in the ring until maybe November, December. Um, with that being said, the reason why I like him signing with Eddie Hearn for multiple fight deals is because I think Eddie would do a great job, and he's already tapped into promoting fights in other countries, not just the UK where he's based out of, but we see that he's dealing with Saudi. Um, we see him in Puerto Rico, we see him in Mexico, we see him just about everywhere. So I think that this would be a great opportunity for them to kind of lean into Shakur's heritage of being Puerto Rican and getting him some fights over there, really getting those fans involved, as well as him fighting overseas. Uh, you know, you have Loma, you got Cambosis. It will be a good fight for him to go up against Cambosis in Australia, let's just say. Go the Devin Haney route, if you will. But if you guys can understand where I'm going with this, I think that that would be a big move for him to now build his name internationally more than what he's done in the States. Get those fans involved and then come back. I think Eddie's going to do him right as well. Immense Minds, welcome. I say try Mayweather or go back to Top Rank. I don't trust the zone. I forgot Mayweather was in the mix. Uh, I'm not mad at the option of Mayweather being in the picture. Obviously, if he fights with Mayweather, that's going to be a PBC card and it'll be an Amazon Prime card. I don't necessarily see him going the Floyd route and Floyd right off the bat giving him main a main event card. I think Floyd, the way that they've been doing, right? We've seen Benavidez as the co-main event on the Tank fight main card. So I think that's probably what they'll do with Shakur if he goes that route. And that could be a factor that could deter Shakur from going that route because he, arguably so, believes that he's worthy for that main event slot. So it'll be interesting if he goes that route. But it's there. I'm not mad at it. Mayweather's obviously taken a liking even more to Shakur. I don't think he went to this last fight, but we saw him at the fight before last against De Los Santos. So it seems as though Floyd is also active mentorship-wise with Shakur. And Miss Mine also said, being indie will be smart too, but he got to make the fights happen. Indie being independent. Okay. Hit me with the slang real quick. Outspoken 520 Boxing said, I will love Shakur to be with Eddie Hearn, especially his relationship with Turkey Al-Sheikh. Yep, I can see him really flourishing over there. I really can. Mike Ramirez, welcome. You said Shakur needs to learn the Mexican style of boxing. I don't think Shakur will ever adapt that style. A lot of you guys went back and forth with me about him fighting in the pocket. I listened to Timothy Bradley, someone that I respect and put him on a pedestal when it comes to his journalism and his commentating career. Love him, hate him. I think that the man brings a lot of insight into the sport of boxing. He's very strong in his opinion, and at the end of the day, we all have our opinion. He calls it how he sees it. You either take it or you leave it. Majority of the time, I soak it in. And yeah, to that point, he had a good point about dang, what did he say about Shakur? I just lost my train of thought. Let's see here. Oh, he said that Shakur fought in the pocket. To me, yes, he was there, but it just wasn't necessary. I just didn't feel like it was fighting in the pocket, you know. And if Timothy Bradley says that that's what it is, then I'm more inclined to say, okay, maybe I'm wrong. But based on Shakur's style, it seems as though he can stand right in front of this guy. He could roll punches. He could catch. He could slip. He could take a step back, invite you in. But to me, he's not head down, chin tucked, and just throwing. You know, catching, throwing. That's where I'm coming from when I say I don't feel like Shakur is necessarily fighting in the pocket. So when you say Shakur needs to learn the Mexican style of boxing, I don't think that is far from him, but I think that his instincts will forever deter him from actually fighting that fight. Tyrese Bowie. I see a lot of new faces. Thank you guys for joining. Please subscribe, smash the like button, and make sure you hit the notification so that you can continue to join me live. But Tyrese said, go with Hearn. He can fight Zepeda on the zone, then the Loma versus Tank winner. It seems as though out of all the promoters, Eddie has the most flexibility when it comes to making fights happen with different promoters. Everybody except for PBC. But actually, no. Has he fought with PBC? Has he teamed up with PBC? I'm inclined to say no. But yes, he seems to be able to find a loophole and make offers that are appealing to a lot of these other promoters to make the best fights happen. He's obviously has Saudi and Turkey backing him. So with that money, I mean, who can really turn it down? But yes, I agree. Outspoken 520 Boxing says the Zepeda is with Golden Boy. Yes, which is why I said he has the most flexibility because Eddie could definitely make that fight happen with uh, with Golden Boy and Oscar De La Hoya. Tyrese said, for Shakur to be a pure boxer, he's being ducked by pressure fighters like Loma, Zepeda, and Cruz, when historically that's the matchup pressure fighters love. So Monday, I made reference to Floyd and Shakur's fighting styles. Yet we see a completely different type of career path. Floyd made millions. Floyd drew fans. Floyd drew celebrities. Floyd sold out. And I think out of top 5 record-breaking pay-per-views, he's in there at least twice. So it the only difference between the two, in my opinion, is that everybody felt they had a chance with Floyd. And I think because not only the fans, but the fighters felt like they had a chance to beat Floyd and that Floyd could be beating, they tuned in. Whereas with Shakur, although you guys say that he's boring, a lot of us say that majority of the fighters that are out there right now, specifically in his weight class, can't beat Shakur. Tank may be the only one that can beat Shakur. Outside of that, it's like almost a 100% feeling that Shakur runs through anybody at 135. Any and everybody. So, yeah, I think that's why he's not getting the matchups because these guys know that one, they're not going to win. Two, I know I'm not going to win. So, and the money isn't necessarily there. I can go and fight somebody else for the same amount or for more. So, why take that risk? Whereas I would think that they would be thinking, okay, if I get a name like Shakur on my resume and I get that experience, I can only go up from here. But that doesn't seem to be the case. All right. Let's see. Mike Ramirez said that corner work slash grandpa, papa, needs some extra help. Ramirez, I got a question for you. Who would you recommend to join the corner of Shakur Twitterson? Outspoken 520 said Eddie and Oscar don't get along. They make the fights happen, though. They make the fights happen. Oscar just stirs up a bunch of shit, and then when the money's involved, money talks for him. Tyrese said young Floyd was a boxer puncher, old Floyd was pure boxer, and Floyd came along when privacy was in its infancy. Huge difference. Piracy. Uh, I can respect that. I can respect that. However, I will say, right, like Floyd moved up, and when we see with a lot of these guys, the power doesn't necessarily translate. So between that and between him having brittle hands, Floyd had no choice but to outbox his opponents. But somehow he still was able to garnish the attention of fans, and was able to continuously keep people drawn in to his fights and who he was fighting next. And it was literally like the fans felt like people could beat Floyd. So they were throwing every name out there that they felt at the time were guys that were in their prime or guys that were dangerous fighters for him. At the time, Miguel Cotto, I think they, I don't, let me pull it up really quick. I feel like that fight didn't take place until like 3 years after everybody felt like Cotto was ready to take on Floyd. And even when they felt he was ready and he did eventually take him on, people still felt like Miguel was going to get him out. With that style, it was going to be too much for Floyd. And Miguel couldn't touch Floyd. Could not touch him. So let's see. Okay, he fought Floyd in 2012. I'll say, I want to say after the Margarito fight is, no, because he lost that fight. What fight was it? Maybe it was after Paulie Malignaggi is when, and that was in 2006. So that was 6 years later. Everybody was saying that Cotto was ready to take on Floyd. And that was when he was kind of like getting into his prime. Listen, I'm just saying. To me, very similar fighters, and they just have the complete polar opposite of fan results and engagement. Mike Ramirez said Sugar Hill, Freddie Roach, Robert Garcia. I don't know if Freddie Roach would be a good coach for Shakur, even if it's only part-time. So even if it's only a couple fights, these are the three guys that you're saying. I'm not mad at Robert Garcia. However, I guess you picked Robert Garcia because you want him to adapt to this. Was that you or Tyrese that want him to adapt to this Mexican style? It was you. So I can see why you're saying Robert Garcia, but I don't think that Robert Garcia could teach Shakur that in such a quick span of time. I think Sugar Hill probably would be the best out of the three that you just said, because if Shakur was to add somebody to his corner, I think it would be behoove of him to add someone that can, one, get through to him. I think what translated between him and his grandpa was a result of frustration. I don't want to say that it's a result of the respect not necessarily being there, feeling like maybe he surpassed his corner. It could be a thing, but I don't think it's that. I think it's more the frustration part. But I think that he needs somebody in his corner that has the championship experience, has the not just the championship and the title fights and those sort of things, but going up against multiple championship fighters. And I think that is what he needs if he adds somebody else to his corner, on top of someone that could really speak to him from that IQ side of things. someone that can see things before he sees it, someone that can actually say, okay, he got frustrated. He said that every time he moves left, he comes right, or he moves right, or something like that. Somebody that could have told him exactly, because Shakur is the type of fighter where his IQ is high enough where if somebody tells him what to do, I think that he could go out there the very next round and execute. So if he can find someone, again, if they're adding anybody to the corner, if he can find someone that is able to see things before he does and are able to articulate to him exactly what to do to get the result that he needs. Like someone in that moment could have told him, step this way, or step back and step to the right, and maybe you'll draw him in that way, or okay, he decides to turn, you go left and he goes right, throw a feint, whatever. I don't know, I'm just saying, obviously somebody that's way more intelligent and knows the science of boxing better than what I do. I think that's what he needs. All right, Tyrese said Tank versus Shakur Stevenson is going to be a stylistic nightmare. Two southpaws with low outputs. Tank will have to be the aggressor versus being a counterpuncher like he has versus all of these Mexicans he's been fighting. I agree and disagree. Tank, I agree. Tank will have to be the aggressor. But I wonder if Tank is going to struggle to close the distance because of Shakur's movement and because of Shakur's reach. He has the reach advantage. He has a great jab. To me, Tank doesn't necessarily use the jab enough to close the distance that way against Shakur or a fighter like Shakur. So I wonder if that's going to be a real factor. I have a feeling that it may. And maybe that could be the nightmare part where even a guy like Tank can't close the distance versus Shakur. However, Tank also has a high IQ, so I think Tank will be able to figure it out. I think Tank will be able to bait Shakur and set up traps against Shakur. And I think the fact that Tank probably wouldn't respect Shakur's power would allow for him to take more risks, and then that way he closes the gap. But yeah, that's my opinion on that. Bruce, Gas, Boxing, Jazz, and more. Welcome. What's popping? Mike Ramirez, I think sparring with the Mexican style gyms help. It'll definitely get him tougher. It'll get him ready for that pressure that he would face against Tank. What's up?
Yo.
What's up?
Yeah, hey, look, I've been waiting for this, people. I've been waiting for this.
Oh, snap.
Since that fight ended, like, I just need to ask you, were you entertained?
You're the second person that asked me that. And I'm not going to give you the answer that you want because
okay.
I really appreciate Shakur's performances. Like, I learned a lot from watching Shakur in the sense of the science and the technicality of boxing. Like I can. Okay. Shakur's a guy that you can study and you can learn the game. So because of that, that's why I won't say that I wasn't entertained. Now, so I'm not going and I'm not studying a guy like Matias, right? He's exciting. Okay. I still put him up there with, top former champion, contender, going back to trying to be champion, but I'm not going to study, Matias. So that's what I mean.
So I guess let me ask you to just tip your boxing head off a little bit and put your hoop hat on a little bit. I do understand that you're talking about, being able to study the art of someone and that in itself being exciting. Mm-hmm. But then my question to you would be, well, wasn't Kobe Bryant exciting? Wasn't Michael Jordan exciting? Like, those people were leading the league and doing great things and not just being skillful, they were entertaining.
Yeah, but then it's also a team sport.
Okay. Okay.
It's a team sport, so it's a little hard for me to compare, but I see where you're going with it. Um, the thing about these players as well is the level of passion that you can see in their performance.
Okay. Okay.
You
Okay.
know, so and I can appreciate that, and I'm a type of person that's really drawn into passion. So
See.
I'm not necessarily a fan of certain basketball players because of their achievements or accolades and different styles. Like if you got passion and you play like with your heart and all those things, like I love it. Like a Russell Westbrook, back in the day where he wasn't missing a single game and literally put everything on the court. LeBron James, even still, LeBron's still very passionate about the game. And you can see that. And
For
he's still
sure.
exciting
For
too. It's
sure.
although he's in his 20 of season or
Second,
something,
22nd.
22nd
22nd
season.
year. 22nd year.
He's
Yeah.
still doing shit that some of these young boys can't do. So
Can't do. That's a fact. That's a fact.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, look, like I said, I don't want to swing too far up into the hoop. Keep it with boxing. What is your analysis right now of just and not them together? I'm just thinking about them because I obviously in the last 2 weeks this has been coming up between Tiafimo with Shushu as well as with oh my gosh not Carrington Keyshawn.
Mm-hmm.
Keyshawn. So what are your thoughts about that as far as like how they're trying to? I appreciate what they're trying to do with the sport of boxing, but I feel like everyone understands the fight that they want to see happen. But I do appreciate what they're doing with the sport. So how do you feel about those three boxers right now?
As far as fighting each other or just in general?
Well, just in general, like for the sport, right? Because we
Yeah.
all know who they're shooting for,
Right.
But just in terms of the sport, how do you feel like they're carrying their specific divisions right now?
I think they're doing a hell of a job. T.O.'s trying. T.O.'s trying to carry the load. He doesn't necessarily get the fights that he wants, and that's a whole nother topic. But for what he can control, I feel like he definitely is catering to the fans, and I think in that's proof of his last fight. Where he potentially could have fought some other guys, and he decided to fight this guy because of the style that he knew he was going to bring. He knew he was going to stand right in front of him, and based on a fight that he didn't get with Ortiz, I think that this is now going forward. I know this is what the fans want. I'm trying to cater to the fans because now I'm also trying to prove that I'm a pay-per-view star if given an opportunity, and I'm gonna become that with or without the big names. So I think he's smart in his approach, and again, to carrying his load and doing the best that he can within the division and the guys that are there that are willing to fight him. So yeah, definitely. Keyshawn, another guy who naturally has the fan favorite style.
100%. 100%.
I don't see a lot of black fighters right now fighting that style that is willing to stand in the pocket, willing to get hit, to trade. Yeah. People want to see that. People want to see a fight versus you boxing.
I guess my thing is though, and I know I've heard you talk about this before, in terms of Shakur, and I will tip my hat to you on that. In terms of him, it's not a lot of things that you say that I agree with on him, but this one for sure. Just in terms of how he's not only gotten in the ring and is screaming these names, he has developed. He has developed as a boxer in style and as well as like his own approach. So I do agree with that. Do you think that Keyshawn is how do you think his development will go based on his last fight of his style that he fights right now? Does it get better? Does his opponents get better and he steps up more? Like how do you think that turns?
The opponents definitely get better. And I think that he can't get too comfortable with fighting the guys that he's fighting right now, because as he continues to go up, not everybody has that style. And there's guys who are going to make it more challenging. So I think he's in love with the fights that he's getting right now and what he's showing us right now and the style that he has right now. But I definitely think that there is room for him to develop. And with Bo Mac, I think that he will continue to develop. The biggest thing I want to see him doing as he continues to grow and that he's going to need to be able to tap into is like breaking his opponents down. Because I think we're getting to a point where we're still going to get some knockouts from Shakur, but given an opponent, he may not be able to knock these guys out. You know?
Yeah. I don't see that. I don't see that.
So I think he's going to have to learn how to break his opponents down. And that's what I want to see from him next. Once I see him like actually like picking his shots even more, like very intentional where those punches are being placed at, going to the body, I think at that point I'll feel like, okay, he's developing and continue to develop the IQ. Being able to read his opponents better, being able to read his opponents better, and also his defense. Like his defense is good, but it could be better.
It could be better for sure. He did get hit. He did get hit a lot by a guy that was walking forward like Pitbull Cruz. Like a lot.
Yeah, and I think he got caught with like the same hand 3 times in a row. I think it was the right hand.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Oh, and then I mean, to kind of jump into the comments a little bit, like, bro, for me, in terms of I think it's Beats by Jarrell. Like, bro, I think Shakur is a good boxer in my eyes because he does to A's point, like he does respect the sport, right? Yeah. Like, and I don't think that he like doesn't have the skill set. I think the part that I hate Shakur, not hate Shakur, but I dislike about Shakur so much, it's almost like, bro, nobody out here around got the talent that you got. So the fact that you just not exploring and doing shit in the ring just so you can just really get your shit off, it's just like, it's super frustrating. And you can just look in your face and tell that you actually don't give a fuck about none of this shit that I'm talking about, which is also frustrating. Because you don't care. You just kind of like, all right, well, I'm going to just get in the ring. I'm going to win. I'm going to do whatever. Half of the boxing community loves to see guys do shit that they can't do.
Mm-hmm.
And Shakur, I don't respectfully, like, I don't want to see I don't want to see, like, how identical your skill set is to the guy that, respectfully to Shakur, not Shakur, but Keyshawn, that's out in the middle of Virginia, out in Richmond, that's 30-0, that just hasn't gotten a shot, that's doing the shit that you're doing.
Yeah. I feel it. To go back to your analogy earlier with basketball, right? Like in basketball, there's a thing where you can overthink it versus just allowing for the game to come to you. Some people naturally have that ability where like the reflexes is there. You could cut me off this way, and maybe the repetition of doing cone drills in the gym is going to help me be able to, on a fly, switch it up, crossover, in and out, whatever. And to me, maybe that's the thing with Shakur is he got to get to that point where like he's relaxed. He's in a flow. He's allowing for things to just come to him. I feel like in the first round, especially the first round, like you could see him thinking. You could see him thinking. You could see him calculating everything versus just, okay, whatever he throw, I know I got the reflexes. I know I got the ability to move, get out the way, and just open himself up a little bit more. So I can see that. I don't know what gets him to that point, though. I don't know what gets him to the point of just fighting freely. So I feel you. I feel you on that.
All right, then my last question, my last two.
Mm-hmm.
One, where is Shushu right now in your ranking? Oh no. I gotta hear you talk about your boy real quick though, because I ain't heard you in a while on him, but I'm gonna bring his name up. In a way, Shushu, and I'm a huge Richardson Hitchison fan. And I don't think that I just haven't seen Rich get the fights that I want him to get.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. Like I said, he's in the hotbed of boxing right now. He's in New York City. He's fighting out of New York. Obviously, travels back and forth to Vegas. You've been around. You've been in tank camps. You cool with Calvin. Like I don't know where.
Right.
I don't know. I just don't know what's wrong. What's happening with him right now?
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be very clear. as
For
to,
sure.
like he calls out people. Who's the last person he called out? I know for a minute he was calling out Shakur. Um, was he calling out T.O.? It was somebody else.
Yeah, like it was T.O. It was definitely T.O. It was Shakur. It was
Oh, I
shit.
think he was calling out Devin. I feel like he was calling Devin out hard.
He did call. I think he did call Devin. I think he did call Devin.
Um, I don't know what the track is for Hitchens.
Okay.
It's not clear. They haven't said much on it outside of him just calling people out because he's
Yeah.
with Eddie now, right? Yeah, he's with Eddie.
Yeah.
Um, Eddie hasn't really talked as much about him and what track that they're putting him on and what fights they're lining up for him. So I'm not sure. However, I think that Hitchens needs to get a couple other fights that are somewhat closer to the pedigree of fighters with, up there with Shakur and Tank, although he wouldn't fight Tank because that's like his stablemate or whatever their situation is, brothers.
He locked it. He
Um,
locked it.
but yeah, before he goes up against, like, to me, he loses against Shakur. He loses against T.O. He loses against Haney based on what I've seen in his last two performances. So
Okay.
I would like to see him, like, pick up somebody that it can really get him prepared to that next level.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't know. Like, I just feel like every time I look at the landscape of like where certain boxers come, like where they're doing, where they're, like, if it makes sense, like where they're boxing, how many times they're fighting per year, if they're fighting in the States, like what their activity level is. And every time I see him, he seems like, that he wants to fight and he's ready to fight, but they just don't, he just doesn't get it. Like he just doesn't get the opportunity to spin. So it's just every time I feel like with him, I talk about him. I feel like I talk about him in the aspect of the politics more than like the actual boxing. Because I haven't seen him, in a bunch of like tussles where it's like, oh, okay, like Rich, all right, like let's get it done. Like I want to see you on that stage, but what's stopping you from getting on that stage?
That's a great question. So, I think maybe it's a respect thing, and people just don't respect him enough in the division to like really press the fight. Tyrese brought up a great point saying that he wanted no parts of Matias, but once Paro got the title, now he's calling out Paro. That would be now that's the type of fight that I'm talking about. If he gets that fight with Paro, because at this point, I feel like he's more than just a wild card at this point. Like, I feel like a lot of us, including myself, has counted him out or has underestimated his ability to box and fight. And he surprised me in the last couple of fights. So I think Pearl would be a good test for him. And I don't even know if he beats Pearl. I don't. If I'm Pearl, that win over Matias had to do something for me psychologically.
Your confidence. Yeah. For sure.
Because you could tell there was, like, based on what his corner was saying and the camaraderie that they were trying to create in that corner, it gave off to me that there was times where the fight was getting tough for him. And like, you go on 12 rounds with a guy that just keeps coming. It just keeps coming. And then he got power. And then you feel his power. And it weakens you a little bit, and he's still like bit down and did like outstanding performance to get the win over Matias. And that's not even to say like Matias is this great boxer, but the type of fighter that he is, like, it has to be challenging. Somebody said Jermaine Ortiz will be another fight. Yeah, Paro can box as well. That's also why I was surprised that he beat Matias. I thought he wasn't going to be able to outbox that pressure. But yeah, like, these are the type of fights that he probably could get. He could probably definitely get a Jermaine Ortiz fight. 100% could probably get that. Yeah. He could probably get a Paro fight being with Eddie. So
well, so two things. One, I think this is Who Know Royal. One, please make sure that you tune in to Agent J's podcast show. the whole nine, man. Like she does great stuff. And still got the Atlanta Boxing Club rolling, I believe so. So that's super
right.
big. Bro, in terms of the Trenches show, man, we working. You know, we got some things cooking up. We gonna be back real soon. Obviously, y'all know the off season going. Speed, Z, everybody kind of getting their stuff together, man. So we gonna, be taking our time. We gonna be there. But I do gotta make sure I'm talking to AJ about this. Yo, make sure I see you for, I think it's August the 23rd, Invest Fest. I don't know what you're doing, but make sure you pop out. It's in Atlanta. So it should be a good, obviously, good networking opportunity, stuff going on. Do you have anything coming up or as far as events or like hostings, like boxing?
So the next event I'm looking at August 3rd for the Crawford fight, Crawford card.
Okay. Okay.
More than likely the same location, cover ATL. I got to meet up with those guys and kind of get things rolling. But that's probably going to be our next biggest fight coming up.
Okay.
Excuse me. There's another place called. I try to stick to places that already show the fights because it's not much of a hassle to get them to
get it. Okay.
Buy these bigger fights. High Society. It's a rooftop in Buckhead.
Okay.
Same owners. Okay. They also play the fights as well. So, but they already kind of got their thing going on. So I don't know. I may switch it up. I just got to have a conversation with them and figure out where I'll be at next. But August 3rd, more than likely, is going to be the next big Atlanta Boxing Social Club watch party. So yeah, definitely stay tuned to that. Invest Fest. I would love to go. Last year I wanted to go and I could not make it.
Yeah. It's like I said, it's the weekend of August 22nd, 23rd. Those days, so it's like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So they're gonna be out there, man. I think obviously, this year is gonna be my very first year going out, but I think it's like big opportunity. Obviously, I know with somebody like you that's really got a lot of good motion in the city right now, and doing great things. Obviously, one not just with boxing, but with your platform. It'll be a great opportunity, and for anybody, what I'm saying, anybody is trying to come and get right. But I know for sure it's gonna be a good time.
For sure, and I appreciate it. I appreciate the love.
Of course.
All right. I will catch up with you later.
I'm gonna catch up with you. Okay, I'll see you.
All right.
I go.
Okay, moving on, you guys, with the show. Lex, thank you so much for buying the first badge, supporting your girl. I appreciate it. I had to tell you what it was, and you said you was gonna buy one the next time I went live, and you did. I appreciate it. Okay, you said, I think Shakur has the same issue that Floyd has in the aspect of being too technical. Like if you're training to be one of the best, people need you to step outside the scope of what you normally do to get the fights you actually want. Yeah. It seems as though it's like Shakur, based on his rants lately, it seems as though the motive is really F everybody. It's me versus everybody, and I'm gonna continue to do me. And if you don't like it, F you. So I his whole thing was coming back. He was gonna be killer core. He wasn't gonna be as technical. He was gonna get the fans to fight that they wanted. He wasn't gonna run. He was gonna stand right in front of this guy. He's gonna knock this guy out. And although, again, he did some of the things that he said he was going to do, it still wasn't enough for y'all. Still didn't deliver enough fireworks for you guys to release a little bit off his back. So I think with that is really how much more can you expect from Shakur based on this standard that everybody has for him, this pedestal that everybody has put him on. Again, you guys want him to be a certain fighter, and when he's not it, because he's not it, you guys criticize him for it versus just accepting him for who he is. If we just got to that point, I think everything will be okay. Just accept him. If you want to watch him, you watch him. If you don't want to watch him, you don't want to watch him. If you want to put your whole house on somebody to beat him, I wouldn't recommend it, but that's your choice. So So I don't know. I don't know, y'all. What else you guys got for me? What else? Anybody else want to come on and talk? I think we have beat the horse down on this Shakur matter. I'm not sure what'll be next for him, depending on what move he makes with which promoter he signs with and what the fight deal is. Then we'll have a better idea of probably the route that he's going. I really thought that there was potential for him to fight Tank next, given that Loma was saying that he was willing to step aside for Tank and Shakur to fight and he will fight the winner. But it seems as though negotiations have started with Tank and Loma. Um, so where does that leave Shakur? Where does that leave Shakur? Who do I got? Boots. I have Boots this Saturday. I'm supposed to do a breakdown of that on Friday. However, I forgot that Overtime has their boxing cards. And more than likely, I will be there. So I may not be able to go live Friday and give the breakdown. I'll see. I may have to just do a pre record and just post it. If you guys don't have anything else for me, I am going to wrap up the show and I am going to catch you guys later. Thank you for everybody that tuned in. Thank you for everybody that is playing this back. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed today's live and our topic, not topics, but our topic of Shakur, go ahead and smash the like button. Do me a favor and subscribe if you haven't already. Share this with somebody else that you think may be interested in these topics. Talking boxing with your girl Jasmine K. If you love my different takes, let them know they're missing out. Thank you, Lex, for supporting me with badges today. I really appreciate it. Um, Anybody in the future that decides to purchase a badge to support your girl for going live and talking boxing and making time for you guys, I really, really, really do appreciate it. You guys' badges buy me those beautiful flowers in the background. So keep it coming. I appreciate y'all. Until next time, I will catch y'all later. Y'all stay safe, stay dangerous. And like I said, thank you for tuning in. Stay tuned, hit the notification bell for the next time that I go live and when I drop content on YouTube so that you do not miss out and that you are first on the scene. All right, y'all. I see y'all later.